On March 20, 2022, in Borno, Italy, a man out for a jog noticed two large black garbage bags dumped in the mountains. Curious, he walked closer, and when he opened one of them, what he found was horrifying. Inside was a severed human hand. The police arrived and discovered 18 dismembered body parts inside multiple bags. The body had been brutally cut into pieces. Most of the tattoos were sliced off the skin to prevent identification. The victim was a young woman, later identified as Carol Maltus, a 26-year-old OnlyFans model and former adult film star. But this wasn't just a gruesome murder. It was a carefully staged illusion. For weeks, someone was replying to her texts, posting from her accounts, using her credit card, pretending she was still alive. So who killed her? And why go to such disturbing lengths to hide it? Was it jealousy? Money? Revenge? Or something even darker? One clue, one phone call, changed everything. And when the truth came out, even the police were stunned. This is the case of Carol Maltus, and what really happened is far more twisted than anyone imagined. Carol Maltus was born in Italy in 1995. Her childhood wasn't perfect. Her parents separated early, and her mother raised her alone. But Carol stayed positive. She was smart, outgoing, and full of energy. She loved dancing, reading, traveling, and always had a smile that lit up every room. In 2015, while studying at a technical university, Carol's life took an unexpected turn. She got pregnant at just 20 years old. It wasn't planned, but she and her boyfriend decided to keep the child and raise him together. It was a brave choice. They moved to a new city, found jobs, and tried to build a normal life. Carol worked at a shoe store. It wasn't glamorous, but it was stable. But that stability didn't last. In 2019, Carol started an affair with another man. For months, she kept it hidden until the truth came out. Her relationship ended, and her child stayed with his father. Carol moved on with her new partner, but she didn't cut ties. She regularly sent money, visited her son, and stayed connected to her family. Then came 2020, and everything changed. Carol couldn't visit her son. She couldn't even reach her ailing mother. In 2020, the world shut down. The pandemic brought everything to a stop. No jobs, no travel, no money. Like millions of others, Carol lost her job. She couldn't send money to her son anymore, and she was struggling to survive herself. Desperate for income, Carol tried starting a YouTube channel, hoping to share her life and earn something through monetization. But it didn't work. There was no audience, no views, no money. Then she discovered OnlyFans, a platform where creators post exclusive content for paying subscribers. Carol didn't use her real name. Instead, she became Charlotte Angie and started posting adult content. To her surprise, she blew up. Within weeks, she had a growing fan base. People subscribed, money came in. Her name started spreading in the adult industry. She was invited to high-end parties, photo shoots, interviews, even red carpets. Her career skyrocketed. But that success came at a cost. Friends cut her off. Even her boyfriend, the same man she left her family for, walked away. Still, Carol didn't stop. In interviews, she said people who judged her were narrow-minded. To her, it was just work, a way to fund her future. She never planned to stay in the adult industry forever, just long enough to save enough and chase her real dreams. And at 25, she did just that. Carol games to hear work and instead as a county Dacian. She moved to a quiet town of 15,000 people, left the adult world behind, and took a simple job at a perfume shop. For the first time in years, life felt peaceful. But peace doesn't last forever. Soon, she realized that walking away from that world wasn't as easy as it seemed. After leaving her quiet new life behind, Carol returned to the adult industry, on her own terms, and that's when she met David Fontana. David was 42, a married banker with a passion for explicit photography. Behind his family man image, he was constantly searching online for women to photograph in adult shoots. When he met Carol in October 2020, he was immediately drawn to her. Their professional shoots soon turned into something more, a paged sexual arrangement. But then, it became emotional. In just 6 months, David divorced his wife, ending a years-long marriage just to be with Carol. David has still half his age, but he was obsessed. They became business partners too. David helped her with content, managed her shoots, and took a cut of her income. He claimed to support her choices even when she worked with other men, as long as it was professional. But behind the scenes, David was deeply possessive. When one of Carol's exes tried to reconnect, David lost control. He threatened him and even vandalized his car twice. Meanwhile, Carol's fame exploded. With over 30,000 OnlyFans subscribers, she was earning more than ever. She started taking high-paying, custom video requests, but she didn't want to stay in that life forever. In 2021, she met Salvador, another actor in the industry. They fell in love, he proposed, Carol said yes. She was ready to leave it all, the content, the control, the chaos, and move back to her hometown, to start over, to be a mother again. But David wasn't easy to walk away from. He still had access to her work, her income, even her personal life. Then, at the start of 2022, Carol disappeared. No more posts, no calls, just silence. When questioned, David claimed they had broken up, and he didn't know where she'd gone. But everyone who knew Carol knew something was terribly wrong. On March 20th, 2022, a man jogging through the quiet hills of Borno, Italy, noticed two strange garbage bags dumped in the woods. They were big, heavy, and far too out of place. He walked closer, opened one. Inside was a severed human hand. The police were called immediately. A total of 4 bags were found, filled with 18 dismembered body parts. The body had been chopped with precision. Most of the tattoos were sliced out, the skin peeled. Someone had gone to great lengths to erase this woman's identity. The forensic team confirmed she was young, about 5 feet tall, with black hair. She had once had 11 tattoos, but most were destroyed. They also discovered she'd been killed about a month earlier and stored in a freezer before being dumped in the woods. Yet, no one had reported her missing. That silence caught the attention of a sharp journalist named Andrea Telly, editor of a local magazine. He began his own parallel investigation and quickly realized something didn't add up. Why would no one miss a young woman who had been gone for weeks? Then came a strange tip. Someone recognized one of the damaged tattoos. He believed the victim was Charlotte Angie, a popular adult film actress and OnlyFans creator. But that was just her stage name. Andrea soon learned her real identity, Carol Maltus. He called her agency. One of her co-workers confirmed it and even gave Andrea Carol's personal number. Andrea called. No answer. But when he sent a message, someone replied. Andrea said he was a journalist. He wanted to interview Carol about her career. The replies were short, robotic. No voice notes, no calls. Something felt off. Then Andrea dropped the bomb. He mentioned a body had been found, a woman with the same tattoos as Carol. Suddenly, the person on the other end disappeared. No more messages. That moment confirmed Andrea's suspicion. He wasn't texting Carol. He was texting her killer. The next day, on March 27th, Andrea gave all his findings to police. Panicked, the killer made a bold move. He showed up at the police station to file a missing person report for Carol. March 27, 2022. David Fontana and Carol's fiancé, Salvador, walked into the police station to file a missing person report. But something wasn't right. David seemed nervous. He claimed he hadn't seen Carol in 2 years. Yet now he was filing a report? That raised red flags. Both men were taken in for questioning. The interrogation stretched for hours. Then, on March 29, police made an announcement. A man had been arrested for Carol's murder. It was David. Under pressure, David confessed. But his version was disturbing. He said on January 11, he and Carol were filming a video based on a fan's violent request. Gagging, restraints, even soft hammer blows. Carol collapsed. David claimed it was an accident and then stabbed her to end her suffering. But detectives found his story full of holes. That fan request, it came from David himself. The violence, planned. The phone password Carol gave him during the shoot, he used it to pretend she was still alive, replying to texts, even using her credit cards. In truth, Carol had been trying to escape David, quit the industry, reunite with her son, and start a new life with Salvador. And David couldn't take it. At the trial, the court found no accident, just jealousy, control, and cold-blooded murder. June 12, 2023, David Fontana was sentenced to 30 years in prison and ordered to pay compensation to Carol's family. And none of this would have been possible without journalist Andrea Telly, who chased down the truth when no one else did.